Mr. Sudip Bandyopadhyay, Group Chairman at Inditrade Capital. Sir, thank you for joining us here on News 9. Appreciate your time. I mean, what are you making of the markets now? The first 3 days of the week, we rallied to record high, saw a bit of a shakeout in the last couple of hours. But specifically, I wanted to touch on the broader markets because the correction over there is looking a little sticky this time around, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think market is looking a bit tired, Suyash. I think there is a bit of a lack of trigger and a feeling that the valuations at a lot of sectors and stocks are at levels which are probably unsustainable, and time-wise correction is warranted. And I think some amount of profit is being taken out. Bit of a consolidation is happening. It may not be bad for the market for the long term, but yes, a bit of pain in the short term, definitely.
All right, and sir, a lot has been made about the valuations of PSU stocks, especially after this tremendous rally. A lot of analysts are saying that, despite this rally, they are still available at an attractive valuation compared to, of course, their private peers. But is it even fair to compare it with their private peers? Because, I mean, traditional wisdom would say that they should trade at a discount because their ultimate goal is to serve the public first and then perhaps create value for the shareholders.
I think, that would be different from sector to sector. What you're alluding to is most probably the PSU banks. We can come back to that in a while. But I think if you look at the other PSU, which are in defense, which are in railways, which are in, other sectors like power, their goal is not to serve, selflessly people. The corporates have with shareholders, and the goal is to, produce or do the right thing and make money. And that benefits the government as well as the public shareholders. So there, in these pockets, I think whether it's a defense, whether it's, railways, and in some cases even in power, I think the valuations are looking a bit stretched. I'm not saying these companies are not doing good. They're of course doing very well. There's a sea change between what they were 5 years back and now. The number of orders they're getting, the business volumes they're generating is commendable. But there is a gap, time lag between the receiving of the order and delivery of the product or the service on ground. And, in some cases, let's say in defense, it takes a long time. So, if we start equating order wins with a, profit and loss in the accounts, I think that is where we are probably going a bit wrong. A bit of a consolidation, if nothing else, at least time-wise correction, so that the performance on ground can catch up with the valuation is warranted. As far as the PSU banks are concerned, I think there is definitely a gap and there is definitely a scope for appreciation, and I believe that should happen. Even now, I agree with that view that they are available at a much reasonable valuation compared to their private sector peers, and probably there is no solid reason for them to be at such a huge discount. They have cleaned up their act. The asset quality has improved significantly. The challenges which they used to face 5, 10, 15 years back probably are a thing of the past. They are reasonably well capitalized. The subsidiaries, wherever they are doing very well. And, bank like State Bank has appreciated significantly, but I believe still there is a long way to go. Bank like Bank of Baroda, Punjab National Bank, Canada Bank, I think they are good bank and they can deliver value over a long period of time. There may be blips here and there, but somebody is buying for long term. Some of these PSU banks definitely merit attention even now.
Good morning, Mr. Bandyopadhyay. Keeping to PSUs now, even the government looks at the next frontier industry as AI chips and large language models and servers. There has been news in the West yesterday after Nvidia, which is the most traded stock now over there, recorded 265% jump in revenues and 769% jump in their net income. Now, they are in the business of large language models, servers and AIs and chips. India has been making little steps towards that direction. Reliance has announced Bharat GPT, Tatas have announced their foray into large language models and chips, and so with Vedanta. Do you see this industry coming in a big way in India as it is in the US?
I think you're absolutely right. The government is definitely looking at new frontiers. I understand they are already open 100% FDI for space related collaboration already. They are definitely looking at AI and ML areas as well. And as we know that new generation, pretty much everything, including mobility, depends on the chips, AI and ML enabled chips, which companies like Nvidia are producing. So obviously there is there is a significant opportunity for manufacturing and doing a lot of R&D and engineering here in India. Some of the Indian companies are looking at it. Tata's, as you rightly said, are looking at advanced collaboration with global players, whether in Taiwan or US. So I think it's an evolving space. It's too early to, at least from my point of view, to bet or to predict which way things will move. But definitely there is a lot of opportunity and a lot of action.
So opportunity, but given that India is far behind and these spaces require huge amounts of investments, do you see any startups getting some impetus from the government in the near future just to be able to compete, or is it going to be a playing field of only large players, even in India, even to make a dent?
Distinct advantage. The small players, of course, the startups and all can be, also incentivized to become ancillaries or to become, suppliers to these large entities who set up facilities in India. They cannot probably, as a startup, it will be extremely difficult for them to envisage something like what Nvidia has done or what some of these large semiconductor manufacturers in Taiwan are doing. So it will be a big boys game as far as the semiconductor and the chip manufacturing is concerned. But the ancillary space will open up for startups definitely.
All right, and Mr. Bandyopadhyay, before we let you go, what would be advice to shareholders at this point in time? The markets are at record high, but it's been a choppy ride on the way up. We have seen massive pullbacks, time and again this year. What's the word for shareholders?
Well, I think if you are invested in Indian market and if you have a horizon which is 1 year plus, I don't think you need to worry. I mean, I'm assuming that the shareholder is invested in good scripts and they have done their homework, and then there's absolutely no need to worry. I think we are on a solid trajectory. Both macro and micro trends are in favor of India. Geopolitics supporting India. So remain invested, absolutely no problem. And if you wish to, you can keep further strengthening your portfolio, taking opportunity of corrections in the market, but stick to good companies, stick to large caps at this stage. That would be my advice.
All right, that's Mr. Sudip Bandyopadhyay for you. Always, great insights from you, sir. Thank you for joining us here on News 9.